The Queen's Emotions and Risky Behavior in Youth Lab, or QuERBY for short, is recruiting adolescents aged 12 to 19 for a study that seeks to better understand suicide risk in this age group. Today, Ning and Natasha, researchers in the Clinical Psychology Department at Queen's University, joins me to tell me about the criteria and how you can become part of this very vital study. Welcome, Natasha and Ning, to the program. So you are both from the Queen's Emotional Risky Behavior in Youth Lab. What does that mean?
Well, that's a big question. So our lab is interested in looking at or understanding the conditions or different risk and protective factors associated with suicide in adolescents and young adults. So that's what we mainly do at Queen's University, and we're from the psychology department.
And there is an acronym for that long lab word, and what is that?
It's QuERBY, and it's just easier to say it, it's more catchy, but we are from the QueRBY Lab.
Yes. Is there an increase in risk in adolescents for suicide?
Yes, so the second leading cause of death in adolescents in North America, so both Canada and the States, is suicide. And what we've seen over the past 10 years is that there are increases in that too. So there is this prevalence overall. What we're also seeing is that compared to adults, there's a lot more rates of suicidal thoughts and behaviors in adolescents. Actually, in a recent study, we found that about 22% of adolescents think about suicide, and about 12% have attempts, versus the overall population, it's about half of that.
And you have two studies going on at this time, and you're looking for recruits.
The first study we have is Brainwave.
Right.
So Brainwave is looking at, we're trying to get 12 to 17-year-olds, so that prime adolescent age, to come into our lab to do some interviews, questionnaires, and some EEG. And we are looking for adolescents between those ages who have either current thoughts of suicide or any time in their lifetime that they've thought about suicide. So we're looking for that, as well as just some general basic requirements such as no epilepsy or seizures, since we are obviously using EEG or electroencephalography, no severe psychosis or mania, substance use, and of course, most importantly, having a trusted adult involved in this.
And the timeline involved in your study for Brainwave?
Yes, so we have 2 visits. The first visit it takes approximately 2 hours. That can be either in person or virtual. And then about 1 week later, we are asking participants to come in and do that EEG portion in our lab, which takes about an hour to do.
What are you looking to achieve from this study?
Yeah, so something we're really interested in for this study is to understand how teens react to unpleasant and pleasant information in real time specifically. So we want to hook them up to our EEG system, show them some different images, and see how they're reacting to these images, and to see how that's related to suicide risk, as well as mental health well-being, and their just general experiences in childhood too.
Ning, I want to ask you about your program, and that is called PRISM. And let's hear a little bit about why you want to work on a program like PRISM. What are you trying to achieve?
So for the PRISM study, I think what we're trying to do here, again, is really understanding what are some conditions that might promote or protect adolescents and young adults from thinking about suicide, or thinking about, when they think about suicide, what do they actually do to respond to those thoughts? So there are a few things that we're doing. We're looking for people who are 13 to 19 years old, have access to a smartphone. They must have also access to Wi-Fi so that they can kind of participate in the study, because the study can be completed completely online. You don't actually have to come in person to take part. So those are some few criteria. I think the age, having access to Wi-Fi, a smartphone with access to Wi-Fi or data plan, and also having recent thoughts about suicide. So they must have thought about suicide recently.
And the commitment of time, what does that look like for someone who is wanting to be a recruit?
So the study process is spread over a couple of months. They would come in for a kind of baseline session, so kind of time point 1, we'll see them for about a 2-hour session. They will fill out some questionnaires. We get them to kind of complete an image viewing task where they're viewing images and responding to it. And there's also an interview where we ask them questions about history of suicidal thoughts and behavior. So that's the first part. And then a day after that, they will fill out surveys daily on their smartphone for 21 days. Again, we'll be asking them questions about what they're doing at that time point. Have they been thinking about suicide and things around that nature? And then 1 month and 2 months from that first time point, they just have to fill out another survey that will take just 15 to 20 minutes.
And both of these programs are paid. You would like local people, Natasha, to attend your, or look at recruitment for your program. And you are Canada-wide, is that correct?
That's correct.
Looks like a really solid look into what has increased so much over the last several years.
We want to represent adolescents in this research, you know, instead of just saying we know best. We want to hear from them and understand. So we really want them in, and we want to compensate them for participating in that. So we're offering $50 for the brainwave study, and then
$115 for mine. But I think the main sort of benefit is just really to understand why people might think about suicide, what they might do when they think about suicide, and really just to kind of keep promoting suicide awareness, and maybe one day we can be better at preventing and stopping. And I mean, suicide death is highly preventable, so we are in that forefront of doing that.
So Natasha and Ning, I'd like to thank you very much for joining us today and letting us know about the Queen's research that will be happening and looking for recruits.
Thanks
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
You're welcome.